Hey, good Saturday night, everybody. Tennessee a 20-13 winner over Texas A&M. Here to react shortly after the football game. I'm Eric Kane, Brent Hubbs, Austin Price, Volquest.com. Again, Tennessee a 20-13 winner over A&M. Tennessee now 5-1 on the season, 2-1 in SEC play, and then we'll hit the road the next couple weeks at Tuscaloosa for Alabama, and then at Kentucky in 2 weeks. But first, let's recap this one. Story of the night, an offense that struggled throwing the football through the air, good running game, but points were hard to come by. You had a touchdown, you had a pair of field goals, you had 7 points coming from special teams, and your defense really stepped up in a big way. Tennessee found ways to win when the offense obviously wasn't doing anything through the air, Brent.
Yeah, what a huge step for this program.
Yeah.
Josh Heupel's talked about being a lead on defense, and to do that means you have to win games with your defense. And they played, for the last 2 years, the best complementary football they could, which meant the offense had to score a lot of points and defense get enough stops here and there. And today it was offense try to find enough points and let the defense carry you. I think this is a important win for this program from that standpoint, because this takes you into the realm of being a more complete program, if you will. Look, I understand all the talk about the offense and the gnashing of the teeth. We'll get into all that. But what they did on the defensive side of the ball tonight is significant and should not be forgotten. I know that's a backup quarterback. He's a backup quarterback who started a dozen games in this league.
Yeah.
That's a football team with a lot of weapons on the outside that can do different things. So this was a really nice win for Tennessee and a really significant win for Tennessee because of what the defense did for you.
I'm going to tell you right now, I think Max Johnson gave them a better chance to win tonight than Connor Wegman would have. Wegman's a statue. I mean, how many times did Johnson, that one play where they called intentional grounding, the fact he even got a pass off, I mean, I don't even know how his body was like
I'll say this, he was more mobile. Again, he's not a runner, but he was more mobile than I thought he was coming into this game. Because coming into this game, I thought Wagman was more, extend the plays type guy.
He's more of a statue guy.
But Johnson tonight looked really good. That touchdown, the very first one,
yeah.
I mean, it was really good.
The only touchdown they scored, I mean, like, he earned every bit of it.
Yeah.
I mean, Tennessee chased him around there and he made a phenomenal play. But, I mean, the defense just is getting after it. They're exactly who I thought. I'm going to continue to beat that home because I thought all offseason they were going to take a step back on the offense because Joe's not Hendon, and they had lost so much. But I thought they were going to take a big step on defense. And I know that Florida game still the turd in the punch bowl, but ever since then, man, they have been fantastic. I mean, that defensive line has been thrill a minute.
Well, here's the thing that stands out to me when I look at the defensive stat sheet. Nobody on this team was credited with more than 5 tackles. Normally when your defense plays like that, you got a couple of linebackers
who just go off
12, 14 tackles. I mean, it's defensive linemen 3, 2, 3, 4. I mean, it's linebackers. I mean, it was a very complete type performance on that side of it. And it starts up front with this defensive line. Thought they had a chance to be a good defensive line. Rodney Garner talked in spring about somebody needing to take a step on the edge. Well, 27, James Pierce has taken a monumental step.
He took a leap.
Not a step. He took a leap in asserting himself.
Brent, I'll say this, man. I mean, and again, we'll look at what the Pro Football Focus stats have to say in terms of all this. But the official stats here in the box score right now, it says Tennessee had 2 sacks and 5 TFLs. But then you look over here at the QB hurry, which is the most inconsistent stat kept known to man in this sport. 11 QB hurries. I felt like Tennessee just beat the crap out of Max Johnson tonight.
No, they did. They hit him all the time.
He felt it.
I mean, they hit him all. And listen, I think the last 2 interceptions were a result of him getting the crap beat out of him for most of the night. And again, that's a credit to Rodney Garner. That's a credit to the buy-in that those guys have given him. Austin and I were talking about this before we started the podcast. Tyler Barron's buy-in right now is just ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I know contract year, we talk about that stuff all the time. But for Tyler Barron to stand at the podium tonight and talk about how many plays they feel like they left on the field, and they can't wait to get in the film room and see what all they missed, as opposed to what they did. I mean, that's everybody buying into the Rodney Garner way of thinking. Because I can tell you this, Rodney Garner praised him in the locker room. He'll praise them a little bit in film study, and then he'll tell them everything they did wrong in the film study, which is why they're getting better and why they're improving if everybody buys in, and that group is buying in big time right now.
Yeah, and I mean, they just got body after body after body they can throw at you.
I mean, they did this tonight without Omar Norman Lott.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, it's pretty impressive, man. And again, like, you look at the secondary. I mean, you got to give Willie's group a real tip of the cap, man. I mean, like, for all the talk about Kamal Haddon, and I still think, look, I get it. He got booed a few games ago. That's kind of Bush League, and got to be better. You know, Tennessee fans have to be better than that because it was the starting lineups. But at the same time, like, he's been Tennessee's best corner this year. It ain't been close.
He made some plays out there tonight in the second half.
Yeah, you go back to spring, and that was all the talk was, you know, he's our best corner in our spring. He's our best corner in spring, and he's carried that over into fall. And he's got 3 picks now. Gabe Judy-Lally is playing fantastic, you know. And, you know, it's just been real impressive to kind of see some of those guys mature. And of course, Tennessee's linebackers continue to get better and better and better. I mean, you know, Jeremiah T-Lander, you know, the more run he gets, you know, the better he's going to be. Same thing with Arion Carter. So Tennessee's defense, they picked up the offense tonight. Kind of felt like Mississippi State Pruitt's year, where they just Tyler Bird finally sealed it there at the end. But
to an extent,
I know it wasn't as bad. I know it wasn't that bad.
That's one thing we all kind of forget about. The national team.
Well, they went for 237, man. I mean, the offensive line they were fantastic. I mean, like, you know, they were fantastic. I mean, Jalen Wright is a man. I mean, my God. I mean, yards per carry. What was he tonight?
I mean, he was 130.
7 yards a carry again?
7.2, 136.
Yeah, that's why I went per carry. Yeah, I mean, like, how many? I think 4 games ago, Eric goes, "Well, we won't see him rush for 7 or 8 yards."
9 yards a carry is what I said.
7 against defense. The Texas A&M defense line is like 9 or 10 against anybody else.
It was not an outlandish statement at the time.
No, but
still is not.
Hey, you're talking about the guy who called the run game stagnant in the stock report this week because I didn't think they had proved it against.
Trust me, you've probably already been tagged by Navy of Vols.
Oh, I know. Well, and that should have. Hey,
Navy
stock
guy,
up for
44.
this offensive line in the run game.
Real quick, I want to get to the offense, obviously, but just kind of wrap up the conversation about the defense. You brought it up, Austin. Thought the secondary, and again, backup quarterback is what it is. I don't care. 1 touchdown, 2 field goals. This defense, the secondary played well. Texas A&M, at the end of the day, ran for 54 yards. I know sacks were in there, but this rush defense was incredible. You do that defensively. This is still the SEC.
Sacks were in there, but he only got 2 sacks.
Yeah. You defend the run well, and then on the offensive side, as we pointed out, Tennessee ran for 232 yards against a defense that was giving up on average 84 yards a game. That was best in the SEC.
Well, no doubt. And again, that as we shift into the offense, because I know everybody wants to talk about the passing game and all this other stuff. Play of the game nobody will talk about. You're talking about Kamal Haddon. Pass breakup coming out here before D. Williams' punt return.
Yeah.
If that's a completion, it's not a first down.
No.
But the punter can take a full length back to punt the football. You don't have probably the opportunity that you had to return the punt. Just little things like that make differences in ball games, and that was a big play by Kamal Haddon. The same way, for as bad as Joe Milton was, he ended up with positive yards running the football. Okay, he only took 1 or 2 bad sacks. That was a hidden yardage that was important for him to do. But this offense has got a long ways to go to find itself outside of the run game. And they're just going to have to lean on their run game through the rest of the season, it feels like.
Well, let's get it out of the way. There was the pass down to Nimrod. I said on the board, gosh, got to make that catch. Saw the replay. He clearly was interfered with. I mean, the guy had his arm.
Again, the officiating, I know every fan base thinks that the officiating is bad and it goes against them, blah, blah, blah. Man, it gets worse every week. I mean, it does. I mean, like they were calls against or non-calls against Tennessee that should have been called that hurt Texas A&M, and vice versa. I mean, obviously, like Tennessee had their fair share. I mean, it's just bad.
You had that play. You had the Keaton drop. That I mean, what are we doing here? That's 2 that are guaranteed walk-in touchdowns.
One of the security guards outside the stadium
I
came up to me after the game. He said, "Hey, do you think if we put Ramel Keaton back in number 80, he'd start catching the ball?" And I'm like, hell, that ain't a half bad idea. I mean, like. Somebody ought to recommend it.
And I know there's probably some others out there that aren't all on Joe. But Brent Hubbs, he had a tough night. That's not winning football from the quarterback position.
Well, and listen, I mean, Josh Heupel finally did say in the postgame deal, the throw up the end zone pass, the interception was, he said, it's a play we just can't make. You can't make. Josh Heupel also took ownership in some of the play calling because I didn't think it was necessarily their best night that way. They're clearly trying to grab and find things outside of the run game, and they're having a tough time with that. Now he should have had a touchdown pass to Keaton. That was a bad drop, miss. He had a nice touchdown pass, good touch pass to Jacob Warren, I thought he threw a great ball to Keaton on the out route out here that Ramel stopped on. He slowed down on. I thought that was maybe his best ball tonight.
The pick was so bad because it's 2 games in a row where he just stared down and never saw the safety. Now, I did talk to some after the game, and it wasn't an excuse making. They honestly felt like that Joe got so amped up after the run where he stood over the guy and was mouthing and stuff. That
where was that first drive?
That like basically like he just it was all adrenaline, didn't see anything.
But he's 25.
No, 100%. I agree. I agree. I think that's a cop out to a degree, but at the same time, I understand, but you got to be better than that. Like that's 2 games in a row. He just stared down the guy right across the middle of the field. Didn't see the safety.
And again, those are mistakes that he wasn't making for the most part at the beginning of the season, or really in years past. He'd been doing a good job of protecting the football. The last 2 games, you can't say that.
The question is on rewatch. How often were the receivers able to get separation and get open?
Not
right?
Not a ton.
And there lies the rub, and that's what will be a problem next week at Alabama. They've got good corners,
and that's what Josh Heupel will say Monday.
Well, I mean,
that's part of what he'll say Monday morning.
Here's the thing. Listen, Joe's play is not good enough for what you need for this offense to go. There's no question about that. Mm-hmm. The receivers have to help him more too. They've got to create some separation. They've got to get open and doing some, do a better job with that as well. They're just pedestrian on offense in the passing game. I mean, there's no other way to say it. It's just now. There's a couple times he throws a great out, for a 10-yard completion. Think, okay, here they go. I still think at some point that people are just going to leave the middle of the field open, and how aggressive is Tennessee going to be? Because where's his 3 interceptions come from the last 3 games? Middle of the football field.
And early on in the game, the slant, a couple ones to Nimrod to get it going, and then he just threw one well behind Ramel Keaton.
Just a bad ball.
It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So answer me this. We're going to get it. It's probably on the board a million times already. It was in the game thread too. How would you respond to people that said, "Well, it can't get any worse. Why not Nico?"
Well, I mean, you're 5-1. Okay. I think it can get worse. Okay. And I say that because, people are going to take this the wrong way, so I probably shouldn't say this. I saw a coaching staff make a quarterback change going to Florida and play a Nathan Peterman who clearly had no business being in a football game. And I'm not saying Nico's Nathan Peterman, which I know most people listen to this podcast are going to run with that, and that's what they're going to say I'm saying. What I'm saying is, it's very clear, regardless of what they said in the preseason, Austin, about how much they trust Nico, they don't feel like he's ready right now. It doesn't appear that way.
Well, yes, and I will say,
that doesn't mean he'll be a star. He won't be a star. It's just
I think the biggest thing is too, you got to factor in the locker room. Mm-hmm. Like Alabama, when they pulled Milroe, the locker room revolted down at Alabama. They were not happy, and they felt like that Milroe's their guy. Joe, to me, has a lot of these upperclassmen. He has the locker room. So you go and pull him, that affects the whole team. You're 5-1 right now.
That's right.
Like, even if you lose next week, you beat Kentucky, you're 6-2 going to November.
Right.
Hello. This place has sucked for a decade. Like, they finally got a little bit of momentum after going 11-2 and stuff. Like, you got to remember where you're at. And so I get it. Joe's play the last couple of weeks has not been good. He's went from never throwing interceptions and overthrowing guys to now throwing interceptions. That's what really hurts you, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think you got to factor in all that. And once you go to Joe, like JG was the exception. JG, once you went away from JG, he kind of hung in there. And is Joe really going to hang in there? Like a lot of guys don't. Like if they go to Nico and Nico's not it, there's probably not going back to Joe. And everybody's going to say, "Well, it's okay. You'll live it up." You're 5-1. You're not.
Right.
You're not.
Your season's not over.
You're not 3-4.
I'm not trying to start something on here. I know the board or whoever.
No, I get it. They want an answer. They want change. Everybody loves. Hey, listen. If Quinn Ewers, I said this today on Sirius XM Radio. If Quinn Ewers was playing pedestrian football at Texas, everybody in Austin would be yelling for Arch Manning. Mm-hmm. But they're pretty good, right? They got 1 loss. So no one says anything about Arch Manning. They don't care. He donated some money to some. Good job, way to go. But no one's talking about it. That's the thing. Like, they're 5-1. If they're 3-4, I could understand it a little bit. They're 5-1. If they start losing, then you'll hear the chants. If they lost tonight, you'll start hearing the more chants. But they won. If they win next week, for the first time in 20 years in Tuscaloosa with defense, and they win at 17-14, does any Vol fan really care who took the snap?
You shouldn't.
Well, but here's the thing: is you also get really spoiled, and what
Yeah,
you get
and
really
Hendon
spoiled
Hooker
was and sometimes you knew it. You knew Hendon Hooker was a good player, but you also thought, well, the system made him a really good player because he wasn't very good at Virginia Tech, right? Well, newsflash, Hendon Hooker's a really good football player.
Yep.
Really good football player.
How about the system of Virginia Tech just wasn't for Hendon Hooker?
Yeah,
It's perfect marriage. Perfect marriage. I think too. Same thing with Kamal Hadden. You just remember his mess ups. You'll never forget them. South Carolina last year, the non-wrap up at Florida this year. No matter how good he does, he's playing a hell of a year so far. He's doing really, really well. Fans remember that. For Joe, you're going to scrutinize every throw he makes, and it is what it is. It comes with the territory. First possession, you have a free play. You have a free play. Why not go and put your shoulder down, go to the sticks?
Well,
and then shortly after that, on the fourth down play, I believe, I didn't like the play call whatsoever. There's two guys between him and the sticks, and fans are just saying, why don't you? He just won't run. He doesn't have any contact. In that situation, he wasn't going to go anywhere.
He was going to get trucked.
But the play before that, the free play that I'm talking about, it makes you look so dumb in the eyes of fans.
Well, here's the thing too. If you're going to be, what do you call him, Austin? The prettiest game manager in football.
Yeah.
If part of this is going to be game managed, he has to manage the game better.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I thought he was much more decisive in the second half on when to run and when not to run.
I agree with that.
And I thought that was a really good job of getting out and making a positive play. Mm-hmm. And again, if Ramel Keaton catches a touchdown pass and he doesn't throw the pick in the end zone, you're probably feeling a little bit different.
But if he doesn't stop running there.
Yeah, but it's what you're talking about. It's the lack of awareness on where the sticks were. Mm-hmm. It's a free down. Throw it on a free down. Don't run it.
Yeah.
Throw it up. I mean, you might get a circus catch because you have a free play there. It's just some of the awareness stuff that he needs to be better at if he's going to be just kind of the game manager for Tennessee. They're going to lean on this run game.
All right, so this is supposed to be a mini podcast. We're approaching 20 minutes, which is fine. Tennessee gets the win. Last thing I do want to say, we barely touched base on the run game, but we talk about how great Jalen Wright is in this offensive line in that regard. D. Williams. I mean, D. Williams changes the game. Brent, I know you're going to write about it. I'm going to write about it. You have a punt where you are the guy that downs the football at the 1 yard line. The defense gets the stop. Kamal Hadden, that breakup on third down you're talking about. You're backed up in your own end zone. You punt it away. You score a touchdown. And the defense that continues to make stops and the offense that seemingly can't go anywhere, that play changed everything. And it came from a guy that maybe has 5 to 6 snaps a game. What a play.
What a play.
What plays.
Again, he took the fart, he put it in the skillet, and he came up with some fried bacon. And it was fantastic, right? I mean, crispy bacon. He was outstanding. It always is. I thought, when he started the kick return, I'm like, man, what if he's really the only offense he has tonight, right? I mean, what if he howls that one? But I mean, that was, you're right. The play by Hadden set that up. And in Tennessee, they didn't even attempt to go try to block that. They turned around and started running back to block for D. And I mean, he's so dynamic and just special. Will they work him into the offense at some point? I'm sure they will. It was never going to be tonight.
Sure.
If he's getting an offensive snap or two by November, that would be outstanding.
Well,
but again,
he's out there pregame with the wide receiver.
When he gets the ball in his hands, man, he just is shifty.
Well, and listen, I know Charles Campbell missed a long field goal, which that's 2 of those, so I don't know what his range really is right now, but he made the 2 other field goals. But tip of the cap to Jackson Ross.
Yeah, the guy everybody was ready to run off after the first game. It continues to be one of the best weapons Tennessee has.
3 punts, 2 of them were inside the 20-yard line. He averaged 40 yards a kick. He didn't really have a backed-up kick.
There's never a return with that guy.
Right. And Texas A&M's punter only averaged 32 yards a kick. He had a rough night punting the football. His best punt was 38 yards, and D. Williams housed it. That was his best punt of the night. Was the one D. Williams
The line
took
drive.
down.
He hit one. He hit one. Actually, I think went out of the stadium.
Yeah.
Like it went so high, and it burned up on re-entry.
Well, and give Josh Turbyville some credit too.
Yeah, that kid continues to be a weapon.
I mean, he kicked, kicking into the wind. He kicks one through after the field goal to give Tennessee the 17-13 lead. Then he comes back, and A&M's so desperate for a play, they put the returner back with his back heels at the upright to catch it and come out, and he still got it that far back there. Tennessee specialists had to win tonight against Texas A&M's return game. They did, and then Tennessee desperately needed a play, and all D. Williams does seemingly is make plays.
A lot of former Vols here. Trey Smith, obviously Eric Berry. What a special night for him. All the Berry family.
And the defense to play that way when
Dan
he's
Williams,
cool.
Arian Foster, Anthony Parker, and then of course the Germinator baby, Constantine Ritzman. He's got a little silver in his hair now, but still looks the same.
Yeah, there was a ton of former players here. A bunch of Eric Berry's teammates were here and came back to find him. And
Art Evans.
Right, was the guys
all his guys.
Those are the guys he ran with when he was in Tennessee. You talked about it. We talked about it on the 2-minute drill, so we won't dwell on it here. Special weekend for Eric Berry, and a very important weekend for him in Tennessee. There was never a severed relationship. It was never anybody mad. He just was kind of off in Eric land and never around. Big deal to get him back.
This is a guy who goes and backpacks through Europe, and Asia, and since his football has ended. This is a guy who literally takes no cell phone and drives around the United States just, seeing things and like just kind of just being present with himself. I mean, like he's, Eric's a different guy, but I think that a lot of the reflection, I think it hit him this weekend. He was emotional last night when they honored him at the gala. Obviously tonight, for him to go down there after the game and sway with the current team during the Tennessee Waltz, and then go around, like I said, Cal Ripken high-fiving everybody after he broke Lou Gehrig's record. I thought that was fantastic. And again, I think he's just soaking it up. You just never know, soaking up every minute.
Tennessee a 20-13 winner over Texas A&M, improving to 5-1 on the season, 2-1 in SEC play, and this win was so important because, again, we know what's coming up on the road the next 2 weeks, first at Alabama and then to Kentucky. We'll continue to break down every angle of this football game. There's a lot of different angles. We'll have a couple of different stories out tonight for in the morning. We'll have the day after, 10 things Brent Hubbs thinks he thinks, the big three. We'll have the show tomorrow night. A lot coming your way, plus a lot of recruiting coverage, Austin Price. Yeah,
that's right. We can talk to Jordan Ross, talk to Braylon Staley. Tennessee seems like they're really good with both committed guys. Of course, Matt's update with Georgia McIntyre is up on the site right now. And then, of course, we have a slew of 25s that we talked to as well. Tennessee with another big recruiting weekend before they go on the road.
For Brent Hubbs, Austin Price, I'm Eric Kane. Tennessee a winner over Texas A&M here on a Saturday night, 20-13.